Mike Tyson's a complete beast in the ring, and he's won a lot of championships for himself in times past. At some point in his career, Mike Tyson was accused of raping a woman in a hotel room located in Indianapolis at night. Although Tyson mentioned that the rape was a lie and they both consented to what they did, nobody believed him. In this video, we're going to be going through what Mike Tyson said in his interview about his prison experience and lifestyle, as well as what really happened that night. But before we continue, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos about this champion boxer. After being released from prison, Mike Tyson was asked what the experience felt like, and he mentioned that prison life was completely different from civilian life because the moment he entered the prison, everything changed. Tyson said that getting angry was a normal thing and that he was provoked on many occasions. He also mentioned that prison life changed him in such a way that he was forced to do things he normally wouldn't do. If you watched that interview, you'd notice that Mike Tyson looked very remorseful and exhausted, and his voice seemed to be breaking up as well. The interviewer asked Tyson if he learned any lessons from his experience in prison, and Tyson said that he met different personalities in the prison, especially people that told lies a lot. He said there was nothing like justice in the prison system, and whenever somebody decided to say something or make a rule, that rule was always the final say. The interviewer also asked Tyson who he was talking about, and he mentioned that it was the prison guards that did terrible things. Mike Tyson also pointed out that although there were bad prison guards, not all of them were actually bad, and there were some guards with a strong moral code. Mike Tyson spoke largely about the mentality of prison guards, and he pointed out that someone had to have an entirely different mindset for such a person to gain interest in being a prison guard. He also talked a bit about human beings, stating that every human liked the idea of being in power, and he could not fully wrap his head around the concept of someone stepping on another man's neck and gaining pleasure from it. Talking about power, Mike Tyson was asked by the interviewer how he had adjusted to losing power, and Tyson answered this question very properly, stating that he did not lose any of his power because he had always had it all along. He said his power is his personality and has always been his personality, and he wasn't going to lose his power anytime soon. They also talked about Mike Tyson's safety in prison, and the interviewer asked him how he felt knowing that some of his friends might have been worried for his safety. Prison is a very rugged place, and there are a lot of inmates that have lost everything in the process of being arrested. So doing something as gruesome as stabbing Mike Tyson would not make them feel any form of remorse. The interviewer also cited an example of an inmate that might have seen killing Mike Tyson as a huge achievement and decided to do so. Mike Tyson answered this question by asking another question, which was, what would he gain by it? The question was actually a very logical question because such an inmate might not have gained anything except making a name for himself by landing on the news. Mike Tyson was also asked if he felt threatened while he was in jail, and he stated that he did not. Surprisingly, he mentioned that he was not the most popular person in the prison, and he also stood up for whatever he believed in no matter what it was. He also mentioned that the inmates treated him properly, and he didn't have any problems with any of them. He also mentioned that they had complimented him on different occasions, which made him quite happy. He also cited one particular scene where he was called a tree jumper by one of his inmates, and when he asked what it meant, the meaning was not a good one at all. Mike Tyson also talked about the mentality of the court of law that judged him, stating that he knew he was going to be found guilty despite the fact that he was innocent. The prosecutor responsible for making sure Mike Tyson ended up in prison was also talked about, and the interviewer asked Mike Tyson what he thought about the prosecutor. And Mike Tyson said that the prosecutor was a racist, and this scared him because he was going to be separated from his loved ones. Tyson also said that he was prepared to give everything up because he knew that the prosecutor could not be stopped. Another important question was asked, which was about Mike Tyson's finances. He was asked if he felt comfortable with the control he had over his finances, and Tyson said that he felt completely comfortable and that he could control everything he wanted to about his finances. Tyson also said that when he lived in the streets, he was not accused of anything like rape, but it was when he became famous that he was accused of such things. He also added to this claim by saying that he felt extremely comfortable because nobody could really know the statistics of how much money he had. Mike Tyson was also asked if he knew how much money he had, and he replied by saying he knew exactly how much he had, although he did not mention the exact amount. Tyson also dismissed the interviewer slightly when he was asked about the amount of money he had. He said it was no one's business and how much money he had, and that information was confidential. He also mentioned other celebrities, including Donald Trump, and stated that the amount of money they had was completely their business. During the interview, Mike Tyson mentioned Don King, and this caught the attention of the interviewer. He was asked about Don King, and he replied by stating that Don King was really an ambitious person, and he was also the best at what he did. The main highlight of the interview was when Mike Tyson was asked about his intercourse with the lady. The interviewer asked Mike Tyson if their intercourse was completely consensual, and Tyson replied by stating that they had discussed the issue a few days before the act was carried out. The interviewer also asked Mike Tyson what made him feel that the lady was attracted to him in the first place. Tyson replied by stating that they had spoken earlier on the situation and had planned before arranging everything exactly how it was going to happen that night. Tyson also said that this played a huge role in helping him conclude that she was interested in him. He also stated that none of them doubted what they wanted to do. The interviewer then pressed on, asking what happened between Mike Tyson and the lady that particular night. Tyson replied to this by saying that he gave her a phone call and he could clearly recall that she was tired from the way she sounded. He also stated that he told her not to worry about her fatigue and still somehow convinced her to pour water on her face and come over to his place. He said that he told her to put on something short, and she got into the car, after which they exchanged a few kisses. He said after doing this for a while, they both decided to escalate things, so they went to a hotel room and they went upstairs. He said that she sat on his bed just beside him, and she started talking to him, after which they continued their making out. He said as they made out, she became aggressive and started undressing, after which they did the act. After the entire activity, Tyson said that he was quite tired, so he didn't want to take her back, and he decided to inform her of this. He tried convincing her to spend the night at his place, although she insisted that he walk her downstairs. Tyson stated that he was very tired, so he didn't want to walk her down the stairs, and in the interview, it was clear that he started to regret not walking down the stairs with her. After a week, Mike Tyson heard the news of the girl accusing him of rape. But what do you think about all this? Do you think Mike Tyson not walking her down the stairs was the reason for her claiming that he raped her? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button and ring the tiny notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos about the world's greatest boxers. Thanks for watching. Until next time.